What's up, guys? I'm Chase Brogan, and today in this video, we are diving into one of the craziest and most unique plug-and-play game drives that I've ever reviewed here on the channel. This is only 256 gigabyte capacity, but it has just under 16,000 games on here. I'm talking about PS1, PS2, PS3. We've got Wii on here. We've got Nintendo Switch on here even, and so much more. So we're going to comb through the entire thing, but this is the product right here. It's called Pixel Haven, and it's literally the size of a credit card or debit card. Matter of fact, here's my wallet right here. We're going to go ahead and just slide this into one of the credit card slots, and it secures itself in there effortlessly, right behind my insurance card, because it's clearly that important to have with you at all times. But this is how it opens up. There's this little flap right here. You simply pull that flap open, and this is what's going to plug into your USB-A port on your PC. So very simple. Let's go ahead and plug it into the PC. Let's fire it up. Let's see what this has to offer and see if it's worth it in the end. All right, guys, so here we are loaded up into this plug-and-play 256 gigabyte game drive. Now, there's two parts to it. First off, we're in Retrobat. We will get to the Playnite side at the end of this. So first off, we're hovering over the All Games list. All Games has 15,810 total games on here, which is incredible, especially when considering the little bit limited capacity of just 256 gigabytes. So we'll jump into All Games here. Now, you can see on the right-hand side, we have a list of our games. Now, the only downside I'm seeing right out of the gate here is it's not showing us the logos for these titles. It's just showing us basically screenshots or cover art, and then it populates in either of those into the image that we see on the left-hand side of our screen. The only title that we can really get from this is at the bottom of the screen. So visually, not quite what I was looking for. You know, I always like to see logos on the right, either a video preview, which with 256 gigabytes, we're limited in capacity, so we're not going to be able to get a video preview. But then I would put like a screenshot or cover art there, and then cover art or a screenshot in the bottom left corner there, right next to the title and description. So ideally, you want to have three different images, you know, kind of dispersed across here. Whereas this one right here, 102 Dalmatians, it's literally the same image three times over. So we'll back out of the All Games list. Next is Favorites. Favorites is a collection you're going to set up yourself. Just add your favorite games in there for easy access. Now, next is MAME. MAME has 1,908 total games on here. So we'll jump into MAME, and we're seeing here that we're getting screenshots again across all three of those images. The only place where we can tell that this is 10-yard fight is in the bottom, you know, right above the description there. So at the end of the day, if the games work properly, that's fine, but visually it's not quite what I'm looking for in terms of layout. But it seems like we have a lot of games in here, which at the end of the day is what we're looking for. So we'll back out of this collection. Next is Atari Lynx with 82 games. We'll just take a quick peek in here. I like that the background changes collection by collection. Again, same image across all three spots, but at least we can tell with this one what they are because it does have the title. It's cut off on this one, but down here we can see clear as day this is Batman Returns. So we know what we're getting ourselves into right out of the gate. So we'll back out. We have TurboGrafx 16 next with 413 games. All right, now take a look at this. This is what we're looking for. Notice on the right-hand side, we have the logo, so we know we're highlighting 1943 at just a simple glance. The screen there shows the screenshot, and then the bottom left, right next to the title and description, it shows the cover art. So it's different images across the entire collection. This is how every collection should be on here. This is so much easier. Like this, we know is Andre Panza Kickboxing at a glance. We know that this one over here, let's find another one. This is Atomic Robot Kid Special. That was a little bit harder to tell because of the logo on there, but like Batman, we see that clear as day. We see it coming up the list. So we'll back out. Next collection is Game & Watch, 59 games over here. Next collection is NES with 1,863 total games. So this is a little bit harder to figure out, you know, what the titles are. Now, this is going to have not just US titles on here. We're going to also have in here foreign releases too. So there's going to be a lot of Japanese titles, as you can see right here. So back out, we have Game Boy next with 1,175 games. That's a lot of Game Boy games. That suggests that it's obviously much more than just US releases. And we see that here right out of the gate. There's a lot of foreign releases in here, which I don't play foreign releases personally, but a lot of people do. So there's something for everybody here. If you only want to play the US titles, then jump into the US titles. Gives you a little bit of everything. Nothing wrong with variety. So we have Super Nintendo, 760 games. Now, that is a great count. I've seen some that have 2,000 games. That's way too many. So 760 is a good selection. And even though we're seeing the same image 3 times over, at least with the cover art, we know exactly what the title is because it's got the logo, brought into the mix there. So like this, we see this is Real Monsters. We can see this is ABC Monday Night Football. Again, at a glance, which is what you're looking for. So Game Boy Color is next with 1,028 games. Again, foreign releases have to be in here pretty heavily because that's too many games for what was even released for the Game Boy Color. If we're just counting, American releases, U.S. releases. So it looks like a lot of U.S. titles, but I'm sure, yeah, so there are some foreign titles mixed in here as well. So we'll back out. We have Gamecube next with just one lonely game over there. And inside here we have, it looks like Paper Mario, which is a great game. Obviously, I'd love to see way more GameCube games than just one, but I understand it at least sets up the collection. So if you want to come in here and fine tune things, maybe you want to go ahead and delete, all the turbo graphics and free up enough space to add one, additional game on here, you can do that. We have Wii U in here next with just one game as well. Oops, it looks like I skipped over Game Boy Advance. We'll go back up to it, but Mario Kart 8 for the one Wii U game. If you're going to pick just one, that's the one to pick, in my opinion. But yeah, we skipped over Game Boy Advance. Game Boy Advance has 1,802 games on here. So we'll actually go up instead of down this time. And it looks like a good mix of US releases as well as, of course, foreign releases here. With 1,800 plus games, that definitely is a lot. And it has to be from foreign releases. Now we have Nintendo Switch, just one Nintendo Switch game, and it's Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. This is a great game. I'm not sure that it would be my one pick if I had one to choose from. I'd probably pick something else, but it is still a great game on here. And of course, it sets up the Switch collection for you. So next we have Sega Genesis with 1,206 titles laid out, with the exact same images like we see in the majority of these collections, which I'm not crazy about. Whoops, we went over to Game Gear. So if you hit D-pad left or right, you can actually maneuver through these collections. But I like the main menu simply because I want to do a full tour that shows you every single screen on here. So again, Genesis 1206, is that right? Yeah, 1206. Sega Game Gear, we have 405. We'll take a look through here. So, you can find your way through it. It's not as clean of a setup as I'd like it to be, but it's still manageable for sure. At least everything's in alphabetical order. If you're looking for I want to show you guys, you can hit select on your controller. You can go to this jump to. So let's say I want to check out, S titles. I just move to S and I confirm it with my A button. And it brings me right down to the S titles on here, and I can start maneuvering my way through them. So it saves a lot of time rather than just, holding down your D-pad or analog stick and scrolling like this. So we'll back out. We have Dreamcast next with 52 games. Now, I just reviewed a 500 gigabyte plug and play that only had 14 Dreamcast games, and it was a sampler of Dreamcast, but it left me really wanting more. 52 excites me that much more because Dreamcast is one of my favorite collections. So let's dive in here. We start out up here with, looks like 18-wheeler is our first game, which is a fun game. We have Cannon Spike in here. We have Charge and Blast. We have Confidential Mission, which is a great light gun game. We have Crazy Taxi 1 and 2. We have Death Crimson OX. Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Now, this is also the layout that I always am looking for. We have our logos on the right. We have our screenshot over here on the actual screen. And then we also have our cover art in the bottom left next to our title and description. So this just looks so much better. I don't think anybody would disagree with me on that. Rather than seeing the same screenshot 3 times over, this diversifies the appearance of the collection. And I think it's just way more inviting. So we have Power Stone. We don't have Power Stone 2. But as we scroll through here, we have Silent Scope. We have Sports Jam is a good one. We have a bunch of Street Fighter titles. We have Virtual Athlete. We have Virtua Tennis. We have WWF Royal Rumble down here, which is one of my favorite wrestling games. We have Zombie Revenge, and we're right back where we started. So we'll back out. Next collection is Sega Naomi with 47 games. Lots of titles in here, and this just isn't inviting. I don't like the fact that we have the same image across here 3 times. Like even this, I love this game. Crazy Taxi is a great game, but until I really analyze this, I don't know what it is at a glance. You have to kind of jump through the now available, go through the next line, and then finally you see the logo kind of mixed in there. It doesn't pop out or anything like that. Good selection, though. We have these Japanese wrestling games, which are great. We have Giga Wing 2 in here. So here we have Power Stone 1 and 2. So even though we don't have it in Dreamcast, we at least have it in Sega Naomi. So House of the Dead 2, that's always a win. And Virtua NBA, I love this game. I was actually playing this quite a bit yesterday. And then we have Virtua Tennis in here. Wave Runner GP is a good one. Lots of good stuff in here. They made so many great arcade games that I think are honestly forgotten about more times than not. And WWF Royal Rumble, we have it in Dreamcast, but we can also get the experience here playing it as well. So we'll back out. We have Neo Geo in here with 160 games. We have Neo Geo Pocket with 82 games. Neo Geo Pocket Color with 89 games. We have original PlayStation, 124 games here. Let's take a look. We've got The World Is Not Enough, which is one of my favorite 007 games, actually. Action Base. We've got, or Action Bass. We've got, let's see, ATV Racers, Austin Powers Pinball. Okay. There's some strange ones in here, too. Do we have the Crash games? Hopefully we have all the Crash Bandicoots in here. We have Crash Bash and Crash Bandicoot 2. We don't have Crash Team Racing, though, which is a tough one to be without, I'll be honest there. It's one of my favorite games for this collection. So I'd love to see that added in. But the cool thing is, hey, I've got that ROM. I can add it in myself. So you don't have to just live with what is offered here, stock. You can come in here and start adding your own games into the mix. Remove what ROMs you don't, like Goldstorm. I'm never going to play it. Let me get rid of that and add Crash Team Racing in here and make it my own. We've also got some GTA, the old school ones. We've got Gunfighter, which is a cool Gunfighter, the Legend of Jesse James. It's a cool light gun game. Hellboy, we've got Hydro Thunder. I love Hydro Thunder, one of my favorites. So lots of great games in here. We'll back out. PS2, just 2 games. What do we have? We've got Burnout 3 Takedown, and we've got Silent Hill Shattered Memories. So not 2 that I would pick. If I had to pick only 2, I'd probably throw a Tekken, in there, and I'd throw maybe a racing game. Not Burnout 3 specifically. Nothing against it. It's just not one of my favorites, but it creates the collection for you, so you can really make it your own from here. So next is PSP with 196 games. Unfortunately, it seems like mostly PSP Minis games in here. In fact, I haven't seen a full-on PSP game yet. So this isn't too exciting for me. I'm not crazy about that. Yeah, these are all PSP Minis from what I can tell. We'll back out. Next is PS3, just 1 game, and it's The Wolf Among Us. I saw that right from the little video preview, and this is a video preview here rather than a still shot, which is fine. It was just 1 in the entire setup. Well, I guess PS2 was videos too, right? Yeah, those are videos as well. So it looks like they used up some space making those videos, but not the other stuff. Yeah, I mean, this isn't a PS3 game that really excites me personally, but it makes that collection possible for you. So now you can come in here and maybe you don't want to play this game. Maybe you want to play like Ridge Racer 7 instead, which is what I would play. So maybe I take this game out, put Ridge Racer 7 in here, and customize it a little bit more to what I'm looking for. So that is everything. We're back to the all games list. Again, 15,810 games on here, just on the Retrobat side, but we've got to check out Playnite. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, so now we are in Playnite. Playnite is going to house a lot of AAA games, and in fact, right out of the gate here, I'm impressed by what we are seeing. We're seeing a lot of titles here. Matter of fact, let me go up here. I'm going to use my mouse for this. Let me see. There's a couple different ways you can look at it. You can look at it this way, or you can populate it in like that. And I forget how you go in here. There's a way to like count how many games. I think it's this button right here. Let's see. There we go. All right, so we got 66 games on here. This is pretty impressive. I didn't expect this at all. So let's kind of comb through this a little bit. We've got up here at the top a lot of games I'm not crazy about, to be honest. We got Potato on here, Dave the Diver. We've got Creeks. We've got Cult of the Lamb. We've got Dead Cells. Do Not Feed the Monkeys, $20.99. We've got some Double Dragon, which I'm cool with Double Dragon for sure. A couple Final Fantasy games. Flippin' Cactus is in here. Hollow Knight's got a title. Into the Breach. I'm not familiar with the majority of these, to be honest. Kingdom Rush Vengeance. We've got. I'm trying to find anything that I really recognize. Neon Abyss 2. I'm not familiar with, but it looks like an interesting title. Yeah, Resident Evil 2. Okay, so there's a couple titles here that I'm excited about, but not many, to be honest. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is a great game. I've played through that. That is a really good one to have. Smurfs Kart, which is kind of like a I'm trying to find the nice way to say this, a bootleg version of like a Mario Kart. Not I don't mean that as disrespect either. I mean it's actually a pretty cool game, but it's essentially the same as like what Sonic did with reinventing the Mario Kart sort of game, but just with their IP. It's a cool game though. If you're really into Smurfs, you'll really dig that. Or you don't even have to be. Just the kids love it. My kids like that game. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge, which is on most of these plug and play drives these days. When there's AAA titles, they usually add that. That's a great game, in my opinion. It's worth it for that game alone right here. And when you consider the price point of $48 for everything that we just saw on the Retrobat side of things, and now over here, I mean, it makes sense. Even if there's not a ton of titles that really move the needle for me over here, Vampire Survivors is cool. But yeah, not a ton of games that really resonate with me. Yoku's Island Express, like what's this? Let me take a peek at this thing. Yoku's Island Express. It looks interesting just looking at the cover art there. So it says Yoku's Island Express is an open world Metroidvania style pinball adventure. Interesting. All right. So I mean, there's some cool stuff you can really explore on here. Shawarma Legend. I mean, that might be worth all the money right there. So, yeah, I mean, this is a pretty cool setup to say the least. I'm really impressed by the amount of stuff that they've somehow found the ability to cram into 256 gigabytes. But we got to check this out. We got to test it out. Let's dive into some games.
15 left. Go for it! Go, go! Pass him! You moved up one rank. There's a slow roll dead ahead. Make your move now! You break the record.
All right, guys, we jumped into the Pixel Haven credit card size, wallet size, plug and play game drive today. And man, 256 gigabytes, just under 16,000 games. I was initially a little bit concerned because 256 gigabytes for advanced games really is a limited capacity. And we saw that as we jumped into PS2, PS3, Wii U, as well as Switch. There's only 1 to 2 titles in those collections. However, the games do run, and it does set up those collections so you can come in here and maybe you don't want to play any of the PlayStation 1 games. So you remove all of those. You just freed up all that space to where you can now add a few more of the games that you do play for the collections that you want to enjoy. So you can make it your own. You can extract the ROMs from here if you want to. The whole thing costs $48, and it's literally wallet sized. I mean, here's my wallet again. We can simply slide it right in there and take it with us on the go wherever we go. So if you want to play at home, you can do that. If you want to play at the office, if you want to play at a buddy's house, you have all of those options. You don't have to lug around your gaming PC. You don't have to lug around multiple drives or enclosures. It's literally pocket size or wallet size here. So big fan of all of that. Now, all the games that I jumped into ran perfectly. Of course, the performance is going to be tied to what you're plugging this into. If you're plugging this into an N100, mini PC, you're going to have some limitations there. You're not going to be able to play Switch. You're not going to be able to play Wii U. But you can play the older games like Genesis, like Super Nintendo, and so many of the arcade games on here. So you don't have to worry so much about what you're plugging this into. There's always going to be something that does work. But for the higher end stuff, you do need a decent sized PC that's going to offer some power, offer some graphic options as well for like the Switch, the Wii U, the PS2, and even Gamecube. So great titles here. The AAA side of things, I love that we have Playnite and Retrobat. So we have AAA on Playnite, we have Retro on Retrobat. Now the AAA games don't really move the needle for me. They're not that exciting, but there are some games mixed in there that I did really enjoy, like Smurf Kart Racing and also the Shredder's Revenge game from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Those are games that by themselves would cost more than the actual entire unit here. So there's definitely value here. I love the portability of this. I love the uniqueness of this. So to get some additional information, click the link in the description of this video, but be sure to let me know what you guys think of what you saw here today in this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.